It was meant to be a simple evening, celebrating at my spouse's office. She'd mentioned her new supervisor was hosting an extravagant birthday, and she felt she had to go. I saw no harm in it, wished her well, and settled in at home for the night. But as the hours slid past midnight and she still hadn't returned, a cold knot of worry began to form in my gut. I called her phone repeatedly. Each unanswered ring tightened the ache in my chest. By 3 a.m, I was pacing, torn between a nagging anxiety and a slow-burning anger. Part of me told myself she'd simply been swept up in the party. Maybe had one too many drinks. Another, darker voice kept insisting she wasn't alone. When the first pale light of dawn seeped through the curtains and the door finally opened, she stumbled inside. Her hair was a mess, her dress creased, and she kept her eyes fixed anywhere but on me. Guilt radiated from her, mingled with the faint trace of a cologne that wasn't mine. "You're still awake," she mumbled, trying to slip past. Sleep wasn't an option. I answered, my voice cold. Her story about the night was disjointed. How the party ran late, how co-workers coaxed her to stay, but the tremor in her voice betrayed the lie. I didn't confront her then. I let her go to bed, pretending to accept her explanation while my heart roared its own truth. The next morning, while the shower ran, I grabbed her phone. What I found set a fire through my veins. Flirtatious messages with her boss, plans woven over weeks, and one message that made plain what the night had become: a hotel room. My hands trembled, but my fury felt steady. When she stepped out of the bathroom, I stood there with her phone in my grip. She froze, lips quivering, as I demanded, "How long has this been going on?" She fell apart, tears streaming as she begged and called a mistake. But mistakes don't play out for weeks. She had chosen betrayal, assuming I'd remain in the dark. In that instant, I decided her consequence would be more than losing me. She would lose everything she thought she'd gained. I kept my composure, wore the face of the heartbroken husband, but inside, I began to plan. Revenge would be my route to closure. First, I gathered evidence. I took screenshots of messages, copied call logs, and even hired a private investigator for a single night to secure indisputable proof. With those files in hand, I consulted a lawyer. If she believed she could deceive me without cost, she was wrong. I also contacted her boss's wife. He was married, too. When she saw the evidence, her face drained, then flamed with rage. Together we plotted to dismantle what they'd built, legally, socially, emotionally. My wife misread my quiet distance for grief. In truth, I was arranging her unraveling. A week later, I filed for divorce, attaching every incriminating piece of proof. She wasn't merely surprised. She was shattered, realizing she would walk away with nothing, and without the court's sympathy. The decisive blow came when his wife exposed him at a company board meeting. The affair stopped being a whisper and became public humiliation. He lost his shot at promotion, his reputation, and ultimately his job. My wife's intoxicating thrill collapsed along with our marriage. The night she begged me to reconsider, tears streaking her face, I looked at her one last time. "That morning you came home from his party," I said. "You thought you found excitement. Instead, you found the end of everything you had." When the divorce was finalized, I walked away free. She was left with shame and regret. Her boss abandoned her to salvage his own life, and she burned every bridge she crossed. She believed she could betray me with no consequences. My retribution proved her wrong. As I rebuilt a stronger, wiser life, she lingered in the wreckage of her choices. That birthday celebration wasn't just his milestone. It became the night her deceit was destroyed, and the moment my vengeance erased her arrogant certainty for.